Welcome to my video. In this video, I'm going to deploy two Django application. So you can see I already have launched three Linode instances. So I will be deploying Django application using the bash script we developed in the previous video. In backend server 1 and backend server 2, and then we will configure Apache in the front-end web server to act as a load balancing server, and then we will see we will register my domain name to point to the front-end web server, and then this front-end web server will forward traffic to the backend server 1 and backend server 2 based on by request method. At least that's what I'm planning to do, and I will also configure a firewall on the backend server 1 and backend server 2 so that only our front-end web server can reach to the backend server 1 and 2. Okay, so without any delay, let's get started. So first I'm going to set up Django application on the backend server 1. Okay, so I want to create the username here, add user. I'll call it server 1, and user mod, append to group, sudo server 1. So I can log out and log in as new user server 1. Okay, now so without wasting any time, so let's use the bash script that we developed before to set up Django application. Okay, so I'm gonna get the link from here and git clone. Yeah, it's there. So the file I need, I'm just going to move that file to the local current directory, move, and that's in the configuration folder and Django server configuration. Okay, so it's there now. I'm going to remove this folder which I don't need. Okay, so now I'm going to run this script. Yeah, that's the beauty of a script. It just does the job, saves a lot of time. Great, awesome. So let's check. Okay, in the same time, what I want to do is I want to configure firewall so that only my front-end Apache server can access to the backend Django application. So we know the IP address of the front-end web server. So this is the IP address. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into the front end. and I'm gonna create the user. Add user, let's call it front end. Okay, front end. User mod, append to the group, sudo front end. And I can log out and log in as front end. Alrighty, so this is awesome. So what I'm gonna do is I'm also gonna open one of my terminal. This one is my local computer, and I'm going to set a firewall rule on the server 1, so that server 1, this one is only accessible from front end, okay, but not from anywhere else. For that, let's do that. Sudo ufw allow SSH and sudo ufw allow from. So we need to get the IP address of our front end, which is a front end server, and that's the IP address to any port. So our Django application is listening on a port 8000. So before I run this though, I want to do some test here. If I try to access the backend application from here, HTTP, and we know the backend server 1 had this IP address, and we say port 8000, we can see hello world, right? That's beautiful. And we can also run this same thing from the front end. It gives us the answer hello world. So okay, let's enable this allow from this IP, which is the front end IP, to any port. And now let me enable sudo ufw enable. Now let's see what happens if I run from the front end. Yes, I can still access my application. Let's run from my local laptop. No access. That's beautiful. That's very best thing just happened. Okay, so cancel that one. So I also need to enable one more rule, sudo deny 8000s. Sorry, sudo ufw deny 8000, which basically means suppose we allow from that our IP, and then if any request come to the port 8000 from any other IP, that will be denied. So sudo ufw enable, yes, and sudo ufw status. So you can see to 8000 port from the backend server IP, it's allowed, but to the 8000 port from anywhere else is denied. So first this gets evaluated, and if it is true, allow. If it is not evaluated, then it is denied. Anything trying to access on port 8000. Okay, so one more thing I want to update is, since we are doing a load balancing here, we want to know the we're getting response from server 1, right? So I need to modify the view.py file. nano. This is my app and view. All I need to say here is this is server 1. This is server 1. Save this one and restart the Django service. System ctl restart Django service. Okay, so after this, if I try to access from here, this is server 1, which is good. Okay, so we're done with configuring setting up the first Django application. So we'll just exit from here. Let's configure our second backend server. So that's the, let me grab the IP address. Okay, let me quickly create the username. Add user. This will be server 2. And user mod, append to group, sudo server 2. Okay, I can log out and log back in as a server 2. Okay, so we do the same thing here. Okay, so git clone and let's get that script in our current directory. So I'm removing that, as we don't need that anymore. Okay, all I need to do is run this script to set up Django application server in the backend. Okay, all right. So let's try to access this from my front-end server. So the backend server has this IP address. Yeah, we can access it. So I will also try to access from my local laptop. Yes, I can access this. So let's change the name of the server first. Sudo nano hello world. Okay, it's in hello views.py. This is server 2. This is server 2. Sorry for the noise from the background. And I'm going to start my Apache, Django service. Sudo systemctl restart Django service. Okay, let's try to access from here. This is server 2 from here. This is server 2. That's cool, right? But we need to make sure that only our front end can access this backend Django server. That's why we will configure firewall. So sudo ufw allow first SSS, which we need to do work on it, and then sudo ufw allow. So the interesting thing is, if I deny, so I want to first allow first. So ufw, if I use the deny, then deny will take first. So let's do this. Sudo ufw deny deny 8000s. Okay, and sudo ufw allow from our front end web server. To any port 8000s. Sudo ufw enable and sudo ufw status. So we can see here from port 22 it's allow, from port 8000 deny anywhere. Doesn't look good. But 8000 again allow from. So what do you think? What will happen? What I think is we really can't access, because the UFW will evaluate first this one and then it will evaluate this one. So we will be blocked. Let me show you this one from here. You see nothing happening. You see nothing happening. Okay. Now let's change this. So we see that, so whatever the rule we add first, that will be evaluated first, right? So we need to delete this deny rule. So let's go ahead and delete this one. Sudo ufw delete this one. Okay, so if you just do ufw status, we have now this allow. Now I will delete allow. Sudo ufw deny 8000s and sudo ufw enable and ufw status. So from to 8000 ports allow from this IP, which means the front end IP. Then after to port 8000s deny from anywhere else. Let me try access from here. It should come. Yes, good. From here it should be blocked. Awesome. So now we just set up the backend second Django application server, and we also configure the firewall setup so that backend servers can be only reached by our front end. That's good. Now let's go ahead and configure our front end web server. So this is our front-end web server where we want to set up configure Apache as a load balancing server, right? So let's first update the system. Okay, and then install Apache. Install Apache 2. And then let's configure the Apache for setting this up as a load balancing server. Apache 2 sites available. So here we need to create that config. So sudo nano load balancing lb conf. I'm gonna bring my config from my GitHub. Control C, Control V. So right now we got a server name here, but I want to register this okay, I will go with the server name at the moment. So I need to get the server name, server IP from here. Front-end web server, that's the IP. And I need to know the IP address of a backend server. Let's go and get it. Backend server 1, this is the IP. Oops. Backend server 2, this is the IP. Okay. Okay. Let me save this config. And I need to enable the module like proxy module, load balancer module, and at least one method of scheduling the traffic. So let's do that. Sudo enable mod, sudo Apache 2 enable mod proxy, Apache 2 enable mod proxy, this one sudo Apache 2 enable mod proxy balancer, and finally Apache 2 enable mod lb by request, lb method. That's the red chili powder by request. Okay, now let's enable this configuration as well. Sudo enable Apache 2 enable site lb, and let's check sudo config Apache ctl Apache 2 ctl config test. Syntax again. Okay, let's start the server. Sudo systemctl restart Apache 2 service, sudo systemctl status Apache 2 service. Okay, it's running. Good. Now let's try accessing our server, front-end server. So this is the IP address. So what do you think? What happens, guys? So basically this one. Oh, this is server 1. That's interesting. Server 2, server 1, server 2. So you see, right now the traffic is getting distributed between among the backend Django application server. So this is happening because our the Apache is configured to act as a load balancing server. So this is great, and in this video we use our bash script to automate the deployment of Django application server. So, and then we got 2 Django applications running in the backend. We configured firewall so that only front end could reach to this. That was the best approach from security point of view. And finally we configure front end Apache to act as a load balancing server. That's all in this video. In next video I will show you how to do load balancing with session stickiness. Okay, then see you in the next video.